Okay, so this part, this video is going to be for my patrons. I wanted to provide something exclusive for you guys, just to kind of show my appreciation. So I'm going to post in a few minutes once I'm done filming this video, and I will provide a Blender file for you guys. Now what this Blender file is going to let you do is it's going to let you easily import any, well, easily is a subjective term. It's going to let you somewhat easily import any model you want into Tabletop Simulator. Now, let's go ahead and download the Blender file. Let's assume that you have it open. If you've never used Blender before, this whole user interface can be a little daunting, but I'm gonna walk you through the steps. I made a little guide here, so if you need to pause this for a second and write this down, these are the buttons you're gonna need to know. It's not all the buttons, but just a couple of the hotkeys that are gonna be specific to this video. So go ahead and pause and write down that stuff, or kind of get yourself acquainted with it. Now, the version of Blender I'm using here is 2.79. So if you're using a later version, some things might be a little bit different. I still haven't taken the time to learn the newest version. Sorry. But this will work for now. So if you need to download 2.79, do that to follow along with this video. So when you open the file, this is what you should see. It might look a little weird, but I'm going to explain kind of everything that's here. So I have this guy in here. This is one of the models that I put into Tabletop Simulator. I have him here just as a size reference. Now I have a bunch of bases. Now to switch to wireframe mode to see all this, you just press C. I have all the different size bases on the layers in this section right here. So to switch between the layers, you just click on it. So this is going to be the tiny base. This is going to be small, medium, large, huge, and gargantuan. And then the layers that are below them are the bounding boxes, or the collision boxes. I'm not sure what the specific term is, but this is going to determine where your object collides with other things in Tabletop Simulator. So it's not going to hit the edge here, because that can actually cause problems in Tabletop Simulator and be a little annoying to deal with. Stuff will kind of bump into each other a little easier. So I made these bounding boxes to make it a little less finicky, I guess. So again, the top layers here are going to be the bases, and below it will be its matching collision box. So let's go ahead and pull the paladin back up. I'll show you guys just on a medium character, I guess, just to make it easy to compare to this guy. So if you want to, if maybe I missed one of my models, if you want to import it into Tabletop Simulator, this is going to show you how to do it. Or if you're supporting another Patreon, or you just find something on Thingiverse, you can import, whatever you find there. Actually, I have Thingiverse open, so if we go to Thingiverse, let's go ahead and grab a file to import. So we can just grab whatever, if there's maybe these, or here we go. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just do one of my files. Go ahead and get the file you want. I'm just going to go ahead and get the solid version, just to make it easier. Download your file. Once it finishes downloading, you can go to your Blender file. And to put it in, you just go to File, Import, STL. Or if it's a different sort of file, maybe it's an OBJ file, you can do that. But normally with Thingiverse, it's going to be STL. So import STL, downloads, Mandalorian, there it is. So go ahead and put that in the Blender file, and your import button is right up here. Alright, so as you can see, it's a lot bigger than what we have for the tabletop simulator. And that's the main reason that I made this file for you guys, is to make it easier to kind of get the right size for things. So what you want to do, right click, it should already be selected, but if it's not, right click it, and then press S, which I think I forgot to put in the Photoshop page, but the S key will size stuff. So click S and then move your mouse to make it smaller. And we want to get it about the same size as this guy. So average height right there. And then you're just going to click on these to move him around. These little arrow keys. So kind of maneuver it. The top view here, if you press number pad 7, you can go to a top view. And then press G to move in any direction as opposed to one at a time. So press G, kind of position it where you want it. Make sure that the feet are connecting with the base, although it doesn't really matter in Tabletop Simulator, but you don't want it to look weird. So make sure the feet connect to the base, get it in the position you want, and then you can put it into Tabletop Simulator after you reduce the file size. Because these files are pretty big, and I know I've done a lot of files that are pretty big, and I'm being a little bit better about it, making sure they're reduced in size to make it easier for your computers. But see here, up in this section, it says vertices 661,000. We need to make sure that the vertices of this are 25,000 or under. So we want to hide this layer so that we're not getting these vertices as well. So go ahead and just shift click on that layer right here, so we're only on the medium base layer. So we're at 641 vertices. We need to get that to 25,000 or lower, and the way you do that is you come over here to modifiers, add modifier, decimate, and then switch the ratio to much lower than this, so probably 0.04 maybe, and just hit enter. Depending on your computer, this may take a minute. With my computer, it does take a while, which is why sometimes I'm a little slower on the releases. My computer does not like Blender, and I'm hoping to get a bit more of an upgrade soon so I can get stuff done a lot sooner, because a lot of the time I'm just sitting here waiting, and then I'll jump on a browser or Facebook or YouTube or something while I wait, and it just kind of wastes a lot of time with my sculpting process. But there you see we did 0.04, and it looks like that was pretty good. It can be a little bit over 25,000, so 26,000 should be fine. And as you can see, the faces and stuff are a lot less smooth now, but it's still pretty intact, like the detail on it. So what you do when you do that, press apply and wait another 5 hours for it to load. Alright, I cut ahead in the video to spare you guys the loading time. Once you have that done, just confirm that you still have close to 25,000 vertices. And what you're going to want to do is click on the model and click on the base, because you want to get the base in there as well. Now it's not necessary for you to have the base, so if you don't want the base in Tabletop Simulator, you don't have to. I feel like it gives it more of an authentic miniature look. So again, click on the model, shift click on the base so you have both of them selected, and what you're going to want to do is export it. So file, export, and you don't want to do STL, you want to do an OBJ. So go to wavefront.obj, because this is the file that Tabletop Simulator recognizes. I just wanted to cut in real quick. I forgot to mention that this section over here is going to have some selections that you don't want and some that you do want. So when you're exporting as an OBJ, you want to make sure that this one is deselected, because this is going to, if this is selected, your base and your miniature are going to be registered as separate objects, which is going to interfere with doing like a solid color in Tabletop Simulator, and you don't want that. Or maybe you do, but I know a lot of my models have separate meshes, and it's going to make it look weird if you try and color an object. So deselect that, and then select selection only, so that it only exports what you have selected. And we're going to go ahead and do a test Mando. Save it as, whatever you want, whatever's appropriate to the model you chose, and in any location, as long as you know where that location is. Export OBJ. And now we can put it into Tabletop Simulator like that, but we also need a collider, which is why I have these, which I explained earlier. This is why I have these in the file as well. So you want to match this up to the model. It's pretty close already, but we can bring it down a little bit. Again, refer back to the Photoshop page that I showed you. B is going to be your selection tool. So B, select these top vertices, so these 4 vertices, and then you're going to move it down to the top of his head. And then this box is going to be his collision, basically. So this stuff might clip through other things, but this is going to be a lot nicer in the long run. It's not going to matter too much if that clips through some stuff. You just don't want it interfering with other things around it. So this box here that we have selected is going to be our collision, or our collider. Now you save that as an OBJ as well. So File, Export, OBJ. We'll do Test Collider, which I think I saved earlier, but we can overwrite it. So now you have your 2 files saved. Now if you go into Tabletop Simulator, you can add custom objects by going to Objects, Components, Custom, Model, and you can either double click this or you can drag it out here. So I'm going to drag it out, and then this will pop up. The 2 things you're going to worry about are Model/Mesh and Collider, the 2 things that we just saved. So your Model/Mesh is going to be whatever you saved it as. Select that. You can upload it to either one, cloud or local, it doesn't matter. I found that doing it on the cloud seems to be more stable. So upload there. Alright, so there it is. And then your collider, you're also going to upload that. You can search it here, collider. It's going to be test. And once you have that there, you can press import. And it will drop your new figure in. And there he is in all his glory. And you'll see when I bring something over, I can safely put it next to him without it colliding, which is why we have the collider boxes in the Blender file. Because sometimes when you don't do that, you will like try and put it down and it'll collide with this, and it's super annoying. So that's why I made the all those collider boxes, to make it a little bit easier when you're importing it. But that's the gist of it. Other than that, I mean, I really appreciate you guys' support. I'm not expecting anything from you guys, so if you need to take a break with the current situation going on in the world for any financial reasons, I'm not going to hold it against you. Definitely take care of you and yours first. This is I mean, D&D is awesome, but it's really not essential. But other than that, hopefully this wasn't too confusing of a guide. Again, I appreciate all your support. Stay safe out there. If you need to stay inside, stay inside. Stay clean, wash your hands. That's about it. Have a good one.